Good afternoon, fourth semester students. Today we are going to discuss a little bit about Sherman Alexie's Crow Testament. Now, it is a poem that falls under the category of Native American poem. Now, if we look at your syllabus, it has been categorically divided. By syllabus, I mean the fourth semester English syllabus. It has been categorically divided into Greek literature, European theatre, modern European theatre, American literature, and then you have the Native American literature. Now, first and the foremost, what is Native American literature, or just who are the Native Americans? Generally speaking, if you look at the word, the etymology of the word native, it means somebody who belongs to that place. Another word would be the indigenous people, people who have their roots there for thousands and thousands of centuries. And when we look at the history of America as a continent, the indigenous people of that land are known as Native Americans. Now, historically speaking, if we go back to the European perspective of history, then we know the great explorer Christopher Columbus had set up a voyage and wanted to discover India, quote unquote, discover as in the European way of putting it, and somehow he had landed in the shores of America, and then the term Red Indian came to be used. Now, the term itself is known to be extremely racist, a discussion that we can keep in another time. So, coming back to Sherman Alexie, he belongs to the Native American community, as we already said, and he is not only a poet but an activist, a filmmaker who has been extremely vocal about the representation of Native American in the larger mainstream American culture, and is also actively involved in preservation of the rich cultural heritage of Native Americans. Now, historically, the relationship between the European explorers and the Native Americans have been bloody, quote unquote bloody, to put it in a very, very polite manner. Now, the white Europeans occupied their lands. They landed on the shores of America, started occupying the lands. Many genocides took place, as historically recorded, and thousands of tribes were misplaced. After being misplaced, they were put under reservation, reservation. Now, dear students, reservations in America are places where Native Americans are kept together as a community. It has been, the government says or puts forward the statement, this is so in order to preserve the rich cultural heritage of Native Americans that are on the brink of existence. However, the people belonging to the Native American community, people belonging to different tribes, strictly oppose this idea and believe it is a strategic step of mainstream white Americans to segregate means divide, as you already know, or to aloof, alienate, or segregate the Native American tribes from the mainstream American culture or community. This is the narrative that is extremely that is carried forward in that is, you might use the word prevalent in America as for now. So you have already come to this conclusion in this 5-minute or 6-minute lecture that the relationship between the Native Americans and the European settlers has been a difficult one. It has not been a smooth ride. It has a bloody history of oppression. It has a history of genocide. It has a history of community cleansing. So hence, the poets, the representators, as we already know, literature is the representation of society or reflection of society. So the representatives of this community, the Native American community, through literature like Sherman Alexie, highlights or put forwards this unequal relationship, a disturbing relationship between the white European settlers or the white Americans and the Native Americans. Now there are certain points that you have to remember before we start the poem. First and the foremost, if you look at the title, it says Crow Testament. Now, crow is, a blackbird which is found everywhere. So, crow here represents the Native Americans. Crow is the metaphor for oppression faced by the Native Americans from the hands of the European settlers in their land. Testament, you already know, or testament means sort of a property, claiming something. So that is the title, Crow Testament. Now, every stanza of the poem, there are around 7 stanzas, and every stanza of the poem talks about different levels in which the crow is used, exploited, misrepresented by the European settlers. We will keep that discussion in the next part of the lecture. Right now, it would be extremely helpful if you go back to the PPT that I have uploaded. Somehow I could not upload it here. I have uploaded in the in your group. If you follow the PPT and if you come back to the lecture, I think that will be much more helpful, because since we are not in a class, there are certain things that I cannot do, like write on a board. All this is new for you in the entire Native American literature. So anyways, thank you for watching. We will come with the second part of the video later on, where we will discuss the poem a little more in detail. Thank you.